You've stepped into a protected space for Black women founders to think, build, and breathe. A dedicated space for those of us carrying brilliance and the challenges that come with it. Here, we honor your time, your growth, and your unique journey. So if you're navigating to year 5 and beyond, hey sis, you're in the right place. These conversations offer insight, relief, and honest perspective. I'm Linette Cottrell, and this is the Empower Her Business podcast, where we talk mindset, money, and thriving. Let's get right into another great episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Empower Her Business podcast, formerly known as the Women in Color Business Podcast. Today, I have with me 3 brilliant Black women, and they're part of our roundtable series. And we have some great topics and questions to talk with you today about, focusing on your first 5 years in business. So I'm going to begin with introducing everyone, and I'm going to begin with Tania. So Tania Brown is a former executive with 20 plus years experience. Tania is passionate about showing women 40 plus how to build a corporate escape financial plan. How about that? Her own quit story began with a performance review from hell, and her exit strategy was proven when tested by everything in the kitchen sink, literally. And she walked away with $0 in debt. Zero. Now she teaches that smart strategy is true, showing women they can successfully quit and become their own boss. Welcome, Tania. We also have with us Christine D. Johnson. Christine is a South Carolina-based mixed media abstract painter, poet, and author who is passionate about creating introspective art for wellness. As the owner of Art of Christine D. Johnson at christinedjohnson.com, her paintings, book, and workshops inspire and guide others on a journey toward inner peace. Through her art, Christine reflects values such as authenticity, humility, patience, and resilience. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you.
And we also have with us Bianca Nelson. Bianca is a change maker who is passionate about travel, entrepreneurship, and community. Bianca also had a vision. She always had a vision of life that was beyond local constructs. In 2015, Learning to Live Movement, Inc., after a month-long solo trip in Australia. Learning to Live was created to provide travel opportunities for high school students of color. Working in the hospitality industry, Bianca continues to grow the Learning to Live movement by exposing youth to careers that call for travel, fun, and growth. Welcome, Bianca. Okay, ladies, today we're going to talk about the courage to reimagine. Unlocking potential through travel, transition, and art. So let's jump right into the questions. The first one is, what does the courage to reimagine mean to you in your personal and professional journey? Any one of you ladies can jump right in and answer that one. What does the courage to reimagine mean to you, either your professional or personal journey?
I would speak to that on it's everything that I build my business around. Just to me, it means building a life that doesn't follow the traditional blueprint. It doesn't follow the traditional blueprint that your parents, gave you, your friends gave you, your teachers, your mentors, your environment. It's about stepping outside of that comfort zone and imagining something different and a different path for yourself, whether that's personal, of how you're going to live your life personally, professional, how you're going to live your life, how you're going to build your business, build your career, but just stepping out of that comfort zone and doing it differently than the blueprint that's given to you.
Love that. Love that. Tanya or Christine?
Well, yeah, well, as an artist, being able to imagine is so important. Imagination is everything. So having the courage to imagine is the courage to, at any moment, change your mind. And the importance of trusting yourself, learning to listen to God's voice within myself. And it's total freedom, just a freedom to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wonderful. Tanya, how do you feel about that?
It's funny because I actually have on my wall my definition of courage, and that's throwing up and doing it anyway. Courage comes from action. You are never going to feel that you're ready. You are never going to feel it's the right time. And in fact, it's almost like it's a collection of events that's almost just, you feel like conspiring against you. It will never happen. So it is messy action when you are deathly afraid and having faith on the other end, it's going to work out. And I find I had to lose my timelines. This is going to happen God's way. It's not going to happen how I think. And losing perfection, because in a way it's kind of weird to think you're going to be perfect at something you've never done. So I found letting those things go that doesn't really serve you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You said some deep stuff there, Tanya. I know we all got a picture of the phrase when she said throwing up and doing it anyway, right?
Yeah.
Having the feelings that just make you but just doing it anyway. Oh, beautifully put. So why do we think that many women, and we're talking about Black women entrepreneurs, so Black women entrepreneurs getting started, why do we struggle to give ourselves the space to reimagine where we are and what we're doing?
I think it's because of our environment. Because, I mean, it starts in your environment, right? Like, what are the people around you saying to you? What are you seeing every day? Mm-hmm. What are you hearing every day? What are you eating? You know, what are you, and things are passed down. So like, what is your family feeding you? And that alone is like, okay, I'm supposed to eat this way. I'm supposed to think this way. I'm supposed to move this way. When sometimes it's like, no, show me something different. And then I really tap into this superwoman that I am.
I think we struggle because we don't take the time to show up for ourselves the way we show up for others. We can be superheroes. We are superheroes for everyone and everything else but ourselves. So once we give ourselves that love and that energy, is it going to be hard or challenging? Yes. But I think it'll work out just like how we make everything else work.
Everything.
It will work.
Yes.
We got to be our own superheroes.
Yes.
And understand that it's okay, because again, our environment tells us sometimes you have to be a superhero for these people. You know, this community, your husband, your kids, your mom, your this, your that. But it's like, can I be a superhero for myself for once? And
That's the question. That's the question. Because Christine, that really struck a nerve in me when you said we can be the superhero. And to what Tanya was saying is that when it comes to doing it for ourselves, we have all this fear to work through, that we have to be courageous. But when it comes to doing it for other people, we don't get those same blocks or questions that come in our mind. Is this going to work for them? It's like, okay, we'll do it for you, right? It's kind of like we know it's going to work out because we're doing it. But when we're doing it for ourselves, then suddenly we are really afraid, like, well, what if? that's something to think about, how strong we show up for other people, just knowing we got your solution. I got your solution. I got you. It's going to be okay. But when it comes to us, we never have that innate self-assurance. It's like we have to earn that with ourselves. We have to learn something like that you said, Bianca, from our environment. We have to kind of serve ourselves in that area if we're not already getting it around us.
And being okay, I think a lot of times, especially with Black women, you look at like how history and stuff, right? Like we're the strong one and we're the heroes and all that stuff. And when you look at heroes are never supposed to fail. Heroes are never supposed to cry. Heroes are never supposed to mess up. We're just this perfect statue, which we are perfect, right? To me, I think we're perfect. But with perfection, I feel like comes failure and being okay with failure. Sometimes we don't want to see that happen to ourselves, right? Like we don't want to feel that, and maybe it's not even failure. Maybe that's the wrong word to ever use, but we don't want to see ourselves mess up or something not work out the way that we want it to work out. When really, when things don't work out, that's everything falling together. I look at it that way. It's not supposed to work out for a reason, because then you become stronger. You learn new things. You learn what you don't want to do, how you don't want to do things. You know what I mean? So sometimes we're supposed to be the strong ones. We're supposed to be the perfect ones. And if I mess up, if people see me mess up or people see me fail, I'm no longer strong and perfect. And it's like, actually, that's what makes us strong and perfect, by messing up.
Yes.
That's big. Tanya, what do you have to say on that?
Because this is just me. I believe your comfort zone becomes a cage that eventually kills and cramps your progress.
Yes.
And it is celebrated, which makes it worse. So get a job. Why are you leaving a job? Why are you doing something different? And that cage is comfortable. That cage, from your standpoint, you don't have to feel the hurt of criticism. You don't have to feel the hurt of lying down. So it becomes comfortable, but it also becomes a prison.
Yes.
Very good points. Very good points. So my next question is to you, Bianca. We know that, or we've heard it said that travel expands your horizons. So how does stepping into new spaces really unlock courage?
I feel like sometimes, like you were just saying, when you're in your comfort zone, you have no idea who you are, right? Like, and
pause right there. That's a big thing. You have to repeat that. Yes. We think we know ourselves in that comfort zone. We think whatever we're doing, this is who I am,
and this is who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from my personal story. I don't know if this goes the same for you all, and also for what I see in my students. But I had no idea how magical I was until I left Baltimore. And when I left Baltimore, not only did I start to learn how magical and powerful I was placed in environments where everyone else understood how powerful they were, right? And so I'm really big on travel, even if it's to the next block over, because some kids don't even get to see the next block over. But get outside of that comfort zone, so then you can start to discover who you are, because our environment will tell us, you are this. This is who you are. This is what you're supposed to do. And this is how you're supposed to do it. And then you go, for me, you go 3,000 miles away from home and you're like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to do things differently. God made me to actually, I'm supposed to do things this way. Like, this feels better on my soul. This feels better in my heart. My mental is more at peace when I do it, when I live this way. So it's like, it's just really important. You gotta go discover new places and new things, or it'll teach you a couple things. That it'll teach you, like, okay, there's pieces of you somewhere else that you didn't discover yet. Or it'll teach you, okay, nope, this is me. This is me. This is who I like. This is, but sometimes you have no idea who you are and what's inside of you until you go somewhere else and discover some new things.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I have one of my mentors used to always say, you don't know, you can't say what you don't like until you actually try it. So
Yes.
you can't say, oh, I'm not this, so I can't be this. You haven't even tried to be that person.
Right. Right. And what are you basing that on? Someone else's opinion, as what someone else likes or doesn't like? Wonderful. Yep. I love that. I love that.
I had to that point, I had kids who didn't believe that you could make a living being let me word that differently so you understand. I had kids that didn't believe that you can make a living swimming in the ocean all day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it there. And now they understand, oh, that's a thing. I can do that if I wanted to do that. If that was what my soul was telling me to do, I could make 6 figures swimming in the ocean all day.
Right.
I don't have to sit at a desk. I don't have to sell drugs. Right. I don't have to be a ball player. I don't have to do any of the things that I thought I had to do, because now I was exposed to a new environment, new places, new things. And now I know that there's a man out here making 6 figures and all he do is swim in the ocean all day.
Wow. So opening up options, ideals of the realization of the other options out there that maybe before they thought, oh, well, that would be just me playing in the water. That couldn't make me money. I love water, but I can't make money swimming. But now they see, oh, there are other options. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Tanya, this one is for you. For women leaving corporate, what's the biggest mindset shift required to reimagine themselves as entrepreneurs? Because they're going from that employee mindset to the entrepreneur mindset. So what's the biggest shift?
The shift from service to selling. And this is why I say that when you are an employee, you are providing a service. Someone else is managing the process underneath, how much you get paid to provide that service, the work that comes in. And then third, there's someone out there that is selling to get the service in. When you become an entrepreneur, that completely flips. You are first and foremost selling. You are then figuring out the details as to how to market, what pricing to choose, and then you are providing a service. So you are selling your product or service. You're not doing that. And I find that is a shift. And I know I'm a step on some Black women's toes, but being over 50, I am part of the I Don't Care Club, and I say this with love. Sometimes I will see a Black woman getting the 95th certification, and I'm like, you need to sell. And it is selling. Not to say that providing the service isn't important, but if you haven't told people about your service, if they don't know you exist, they can't get your service. And I think that is the biggest mental flip that I see that when I talk to other business owners, particularly new ones, that they struggle with.
That is so true. I actually had a forum of women, and I was asking, what's one thing about entrepreneurship that no one told you before you got started? And that's one thing they said, Tanya. They said, no one told me that I would have to let people know that I'm here. I thought I just show up with my product. I just get my service ready and they would come, right? They're like, I didn't know I had to sell too. So that's an excellent point. So those listening in, please take note, from employee, you're giving the service. From entrepreneurship, you have to sell to be able to offer that service or that product. Very key point. Christine, how can art, poetry, or creative expression serve as tools for rewriting your story?
Well, the art that I create is really meant to inspire and direct your journey to inner peace. The first step is the shedding process, releasing what is no longer serving you, that's not aligned with your divine purpose. So once you have the courage to release what's not yours, then you are able to receive what is divinely yours. So that is a critical first step of the process in order to fulfill whether it's your new entrepreneurship journey or whatever it is. So the art, the poetry, the workshops that I do, it's really designed to help you go within and to serve as like a silent companion, a silent accountability partner in that journey, in that growth journey to inner peace.
That makes a lot of sense. When you talk about release to receive, I'm thinking about Tanya's journey when she said she went through that review from hell, and how she had to basically release that corporate job to receive her entrepreneurship, right? It's like she had to let go of something to make room for something else. So that makes a lot of sense. I like that. I like that. So how do we balance the need to survive financially with the courage to build something true to our vision? I know this is a challenge for all entrepreneurs starting out, right? We want to do something great. We have this great idea, this great service, this great product, but how do we balance that with the need to survive financially? Either one of you can answer that.
I feel like that's a everlasting. We'll never have the 100% correct answer for that, because everybody's journey is different. But I think for me, a lot of it is sacrifice and sacrifice and changing. Just changing your ways, changing your habits. Like if you really want something and you might not want to work a job because you want to put more time into your business, or you only want to work a part-time job so you still have that time to put into your business. I think then it gets to the point of, okay, what am I willing to sacrifice? How can I change my habits? So therefore, because a lot of times we don't need as much as we think we need. We really don't. And it's like, okay, well, how can I budget differently? How can I change my habits? How can I switch some things up? So therefore, financially, I'm still good enough where I don't have to work, 40 hours at a job, and I can still put my time into my business while still being financially good, having my bills paid, my basic needs met. But it takes a lot of sacrifice, a lot of habits changing, and all of that good stuff. But balancing it all is just, where are the answers for that?
Right. It's an ongoing process.
Meeting the right people, learn, always educating yourself on opportunities and grants. And honestly, the hardest part of it all is exactly what Tanya said, getting used to selling. Sell your butt off until you can't sell no more. So you can see the money rolling in to balance financially the way that you need to.
I like that. So get comfortable with selling and understand that the process for surviving financially is an ongoing process. But it can start with redoing your budget, realizing what are your true necessities. How can what do I really need, and how can I manage covering that to continue in this business journey? So ladies, in your first 5 years, what was the most surprising challenge you had to reimagine your way through?
Well, I'm going into year 2 as far as doing this full time. My first exhibit was in 1994, but full time, it's the taxes, that part where I'm one of these people who follow rules and I want to have everything correct because I don't want any surprises.
Right.
I keep thinking, if I knew all of this, would I have done this? You know what I mean? Because it's one thing when you're making like a ton of money, I can understand, but even when you need to report $50,
Right.
it's like, how many forms
How many forms do I have to
to
look up?
report $50 this week? So that was a lot. That was a lot of surprises
Uh-huh.
on that end.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The form.
I totally agree with that one for one, and I am still in we're this is year 10, and I'm still like, what another form, y'all? Is it like we just create new forms every year or what? But in that same in that same way, the biggest surprise for me, first thing first, when I started a nonprofit, of course nonprofits are a different, they're all big. They're just ran a little differently. When I first started my nonprofit, I had no idea what nonprofit was. Let's get that straight. So everything was a surprise. Okay, from watching my mom do business as she's owned her own business since I was 7 years old. So to watch her do business, to now go into building a nonprofit, everything was a surprise because I had no idea what the crap a nonprofit was.
Uh-huh.
So that's number one. But one of the biggest, once I started to learn what a nonprofit is and how we function and how this needs to go and how that needs to go, one of the biggest was learning when I had to realize that this thing ain't mine. It ain't mine. It don't belong to me. It belongs to a collective. It's my board that tells me what to do and how to do it. Although I'm the founder, I'm the executive director, I've built this thing, I still, you understand. But when it's a nonprofit, honey, you don't own it. When it's not the same as a for-profit. You're the owner, this is yours, that or every dollar that comes in, that's, you figure that out, right? Mm-hmm. But it hit me hard when I had to realize, no, you don't own this thing. Mm. You don't own this thing. And it's even harder for you as far as funds because you can't pay yourself until a certain percentage of the business is taken care of a different way. Mm. A certain percentage is going directly to programming and other needs. You're last, honey.
Got it. That's great information for those out there thinking about starting a nonprofit, things to consider.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, if you are thinking about starting a nonprofit, your first 5 years should be, I'm happy that I did it the way that I did it in my first few years. Your first couple of years, you should partner with another nonprofit that's aligned with your mission and let them be your fiscal sponsor so they can have majority of the financial responsibility. But you can also learn from them. And you'll be able to just focus on your program and focus on what it is that you're trying to provide for your people, for your community, and do just that while still learning, while you can, and then figure out if you want to take this thing and open up your own 501c3, or if you want to just continue to partner with nonprofits.
That's great advice.
A lot of times you don't need to open up your own nonprofit. We're stronger together. So sometimes this nonprofit needed this other program to come in to generate more revenue. And then everybody's successful in all the communities.
That's great advice. I love that.
I actually wanted to take the last question you asked and piggyback it with this one, because for me, it's one and the same about the financial part in this. What I had to learn was get rid of the word balance and instead strategic alignment. And what I mean by that is everyone is a different place on their financial journey, on their business journey. The question I now ask myself, is everything working in concert for my goals? So if you cannot afford to leave your job is now a strategic tool for your goal. Can you volunteer to get on projects that give you things that you need to learn? You just heard you're going to need to learn how to market. You're going to have to learn how to sell. Can they actually pay for whatever certification you need? The income, now you have a dream fund that is helping you along the goals. If your job isn't working, I know it's a tough market. Can you find a role, even though it may be less money, that one allows you to have a business? Please check your employee documents before you have a side hustle to make sure that's so, for my public service announcement, and give you the hours. So having a job is not out of alignment with having a business if you think through it strategically. It's now a strategic partner. You're not looking for a job to build a career. You're looking for a job as a bridge. And I think for me, I had to reframe balance in terms of what aligns with what I am doing and what needs my priority at the moment. If my family needs my priority, yes, the business is going to take a back seat. If I'm working on a project, the business may be at the more forefront, and look at making sure the important balls, my family, volunteering, my faith are there, but everything else, it will have to shift. And I think that for me is still a work in progress, but that for me is the lesson that I've learned from these last 6 years.
Got it. Great stuff, ladies. Great stuff. And now this is another question for all of you. What role does community support or lack of it play in, what role did it play in shaping your first 5 years?
I do a boot camp where I walk women how to plan. And I actually have this thing called a spiritual battle plan, a resiliency plan. Community is part of my plan. You are doing something that no one around you, for the most part, in most cases, have done. People have a wonderful way of masking their own insecurity as criticism. And having a community with like-minded people, one, it sets realistic expectations because social media does not. Yeah. Two, it just gives you someone to cry to. Like, I've literally had people cry. I'm like, girl, just keep talking. Just keep talking. And collaboration, we're not meant to do this alone. You get amazing ideas with people who have amazing skills that can help you in areas where you struggle. And you can also do the same for others.
Okay, so you said people mask their insecurity with what?
Criticism.
So
or just making sure you know this. Yeah. I find when someone gives you a lot of criticism, a lot of times if you scratch the surface, it's their insecurities and sometimes about their lost dreams that they didn't have enough courage to go after.
Right. So they're criticizing you, but it's really their insecurity or what they really feel about not going for their dreams that they're expressing. Wonderful. You said something else that was key. Oh, to be in that community with people that understand what you're going through, to learn in that community and have the space to express yourself.
Yeah.
Even if it's tears, right? Because you're so true. Because a lot of times if we're surrounded by people who are not entrepreneur, we really speak a different language, right? Completely. We have to recognize that first of all. So if you're just getting into entrepreneurship, realize that you are stepping into a different lifestyle. You speak a different language. So when you are talking about things related to your business and the people around you don't understand, they don't sympathize, their response to you may be, well, why did you leave your job? Or, well, you should just go find a job, right? And you're not expressing your frustration to quit. You're expressing your frustration because you need solutions. Yeah. But you have to express it in the right environment. So with other entrepreneurs who would understand, okay, I had that problem. This is what I did. Very good points, Tania. Very good points. Pause with me for a second. I just want to thank you for being here. And if this hits home, tap 5 stars, leave a quick comment, and send this to a sister who needs it. You help more women find this space when you share. All right, back to the conversation. Anything you want to add, Bianca or Christine, on that? How has community either the supportive community or the lack of it shaped your first years in business?
It was everything for me. I mean, through the why, I took a cohort, We360 YWCA, and I remember, first of all, I formed so many wonderful friendships that I still have to this day. Sisterhood, everything. But I remember we had to learn how to say our what would you call it? When
Elevator
you
pitch?
elevator pitch, right? I remember saying it for the first time out loud. My name is Christine D. Johnson. I'm a visual artist, and I remember the tears rolled down my face. Now, this is back in 2020 when we were doing it online, but because I heard myself for the first time saying who I truly am. My point is, if it wasn't for programs like that through the community, and I've been to a lot of them for free, those were building blocks for me to where I am today. And when I see people view the art and accept the art and understand the mission of what I'm trying to do, it is everything. Because you can know within yourself, this is what I'm supposed to do. But when someone else understands it, it's kind of like, okay, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So community is everything. Friendship is everything.
Got it. Love that.
Yeah. I don't think honestly, I would have probably gave up a long time ago if it wasn't for my community. Like every milestone, everything we were able to accomplish still to this day is all community.
Good. So success, your success in business is tied to tapping into community. So God, remember that. Don't try to do this by yourself. That's not realistic. So if you're looking on social media and you're seeing someone by themselves and the pictures they take is just them and them doing this and them accomplishing that, you do not accomplish great things in business by yourself.
That is a long world.
Behind that person that you are not seeing if they're really accomplishing those things. So you have to surround yourself with like-minded people, going through what you go through, understanding your language, available to let you cry about things and knowing you're going to wipe your tears and get right back to it because that's part of the journey. And just know that you have to have people you can lean on.
Can I make a quick comment about social media? Because that's like the bane of my existence. Just a warning to people. I call it the highlight reel culture of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And when you are listening, you are hearing the highlights. You're not hearing the hurts. You're not hearing the hang-ups. You're not hearing the hurdles. And most importantly, you're not hearing the history. Because the history is what they conveniently leave out. And I know some of them. And I'm like, okay, that $400,000 loan you got from daddy is interesting. You're not mentioning that. There is huge context to instant success. So I tell people, schedule time with someone in business that's a season ahead of you, and you begin to hear a pattern and a story. Everybody struggles. Everybody has highs and lows. If you need to get a part-time job, that is extraordinarily common for those. And there are influencers that are beautifully upfront and honest, but I just want to make that comment. Yeah.
No, it is true. Like you said, it's a highlight reel of the entire thing, what's really going on. I do know some, like you said, I do know some really good entrepreneurs that are really upfront and honest, and I love it because it actually, I feel like it helps them even more with with their social media journey and creating a community with real people. You know what I mean? Because after a while, if I don't have a real connection to you, I mean, I want to see everybody succeed and all that, but if I don't have a real connection to you in some type of way, I'm just scrolling on by. I'm not even attached to your content anymore. So it is very important to be real. And that alone, like building your community on social media, right? Like, how do you build your community there? By being real and being your authentic self. I'm learning that myself, because I used to just hate social media because I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it right. I don't know how to do it all perfect, how they do it. And now I'm learning, like, no, just be yourself. People love you for who you are. Just, be yourself. And that's an important part of community too. I just had this happen to me the other day because I'm traveling all the time. Sometimes it's hard to, like, if it's hard to maintain your community, and it feels good when you tap into your community and have that reminder of why you need your community when you're traveling all around the world and doing so many things. And the last couple of weeks, literally today, I had to make a really hard decision with a long-time business partner of mine. Really, really hard decision, really hard conversation. But leading up to today, I knew I had this conversation coming up, and I was just really down, not knowing if I was making the right decision, if I was feeling the right way, down. And my husband and I didn't feel like cooking, and we were like, we're going to go across the street to our neighborhood bar, and forgetting that they're a part of our community. Instantly I step in, and I'm just sitting there, and just the love that you feel lifted me up. And it was something about, it was that reminder, like, okay, B, you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You're making the right decisions, and you got people to love you for who you are and back you up. That community, for small things like that, they don't even have to be a part of your business. They don't have to play no role in your business, and they don't even understand how many times they've helped me in business without even doing anything at all, but just supporting me as an individual.
Got you. Be in that space you can go and be yourself and feel welcome.
Yeah.
I call it the ugly cry people. I need the person that I can do the ugly cry. I just got, and trust, I have had it. Fetal position, ugly cry. I don't know what was I thinking. Those people, and when I get on the phone, they just take, okay, Tania, let's take some breaths. You need at least one good one of those people.
Yeah, I love that. I need to give that out as an assignment for everybody. To
find people.
One ugly cry person, someone they can go to and just let it all out when they're feeling at their worst and they're most conflicted and frustrated, and know that that person still believes with them when they wipe those tears, and they can be like, okay, I'm done. I feel better.
Yep.
Wonderful. That's very key. That's not to be taken lightly either. So I hope you guys are, my audience is really listening. You do need to have the freedom to express those feelings. Like, I do a Black Women Blooming group on the Alignable platform. And one of the things that I always open the meeting with is drop in the chat how you're feeling today. And it doesn't have to be positive. You can be feeling overwhelmed. You can be feeling frustrated. You can be tired. You can be feeling happy. But however you feel, you are allowed to feel that, right? Because a lot of spaces we show up and we feel like we have to have a mask on because we're only allowed to walk in the positivity. Well, life be life, and then you don't feel positive all the 24/7. So where do you get to show when you're not feeling that? Where do you, and if you can't show it, how can you heal it or feed it, right? How can you make it better if you're just pushing it down to put the smile on? So that's very important. You got to find spaces that welcome you however you show up, and you got to find a shoulder that you can have that ugly cry on and still be all right. So another question for you all, how do you know when you've outgrown a chapter and it's time to pivot? And that may speak to what you just said, Bianca. How do you know? But how do you know? Because sometimes we get these, I know Oprah used to say that the universe whispers to you then it gets louder, and it gets louder, and then it has to scream to you. But it was telling you this a long time ago, but you were like, no, I don't think so, because it didn't feel comfortable. So how do you know how you can build your trust with that intuition and not let it get to a scream and know that it's time to pivot? I am a fan of the pivot.
Yeah.
I am the fan of being flexible and with something, because what I truly believe is entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. In a spiritual journey, you never get the full story from the get up. There's no way the universe is going to tell you everything you're supposed to do. It's giving you a little bit at a time, because that's all you can handle. That's all your mind can handle. I know you can understand these next 2 steps. That's all you're tasked to do. Just do that, and then I'll give you the next step.
Oh my God.
So when the next step comes, it may be a pivot. But if you're closed-minded, you'll be like, no, I said I was going to do it this way. If I change, it's a failure. No, that was your pivot. It was there even before you started this journey. It was there for you to pivot. So how do we learn to trust that intuition, that gut feeling that's there for a reason? But we
sound like Tanya. I'm gonna let Tanya go, because I feel like you're like,
I see you want to scream.
I told you I had a hard conversation today, and it was that. But Tanya, come on, do your thing.
So the first thing is the feeling, and the feeling is a push-pull feeling. At some point, what you want is propelling you forward. At some point, you're pushing it. If I'm in pushing mode, that's telling me something is wrong. And then I personally have an acronym, because I tell people emotions have no logic. You're going to need a framework. So my framework works for me, myself, and I call it BEST. So the first thing, is this decision biblically sound? Does it meet the Galatians 5 test? Does it increase love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self-control? How does this decision enhance or engage how God uniquely designed me in the assignment he gave me?
Come on,
how does this decision support my gift? That God-given talent, that intuition, where I feel God's favor pointing me to, my talents. And is the timing aligned with my current season? Like, for instance, I had a young woman that was just trying to start her business, doing all of this. Girl was 9 months pregnant. The timing wasn't there. So that's kind of a frame. So I would say find your framework, but find it in your weakness, those areas where you normally know, and just give it to me. I have to take it through there. I find I always get confirmation from people in the most unlikely places. But now that I know how God uniquely speaks and confirms to me, I'm on the lookout for it. And sometimes, and there is something to just stillness.
Yes. You're gonna have to run through that again. B is for biblically founded, right?
Yeah. So
what's E is for?
So B is for biblically sound. So for me, I pass it through the Galatians 5 test, the fruit of the Spirit, because I'm human, y'all. So if there's a little bit of pettiness in my heart, and this is a little bit of pettiness, that is not aligned with God. So I'm like, okay, am I doing this out of love, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control? If it's not, and it has to be 100% pass. If one of those things are off, it's out.
Okay.
The other one is enhance or engage. How does this decision align with your core values? How does it help you stay on track? How does it support? And the S is, I call it support your gift, but it's support your assignment. How does it multiply and enhance or subtract what's hampering you? And then the T is timing. Is it aligned? Sometimes it's the best decision in the wrong season. How I know I've made all these mistakes.
I love that. So when you said the E, enhance your core values. So first of all, you have to sit down and establish what your core values are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us don't have our core values established.
Yeah.
So enhance your core values, support what your divine assignment is, and be in the right timing. So it can be the right decision, but not for the right time.
Yeah.
So some dreams are to be held on to until the right time comes along.
Yeah.
Great information. All right. Come
Oh
on,
my
Bianca. Come on.
no, that was perfect. That was everything. And it's funny because when you say like, you know, how do you know when you need to pivot? How do you know when something needs to change? And like I said, the conversation I had today was one of the hardest conversations I had, because it's one thing having a job and saying, okay, screw y'all, I'm out, right? That's one thing, because they're a big organization. They're not going to miss you. It's another thing having to tell a business partner, this is the end of our journey. We're gonna create a new journey together. I'm pretty sure, you know, this isn't like, oh, screw you, I never want to talk to you again. We're gonna probably build in a different way, but this is the end of this journey together, because I have an assignment, and this journey that we're on isn't supporting that assignment. And I had to go through what you said, like go through the motions and go back and forth with myself,
Right.
It's just the decision that you want to make, because it's such a hard decision. But it's listening to yourself. Like, you know, listen to yourself. Like, Bianca, I'm not going to tell you too many times that this is what you need to do. How many times do I have to tell you that this is what you need to do before you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in, or you find yourself going in the same cycle that you prayed to God to stop repeating.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stop repeating. You have an assignment that you have worked hard on over the last 10 years. That's where you thrive. That's where where you're your best self. That's what you love. That's how you're changing the world. How dare you not listen to yourself and try to still put your time into something else that you didn't, like you said, okay, for right now, I need you to do this task. I was supposed to do that task at a moment because God needed me to help somebody and, you know, help them build their business and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, I need to do that task now. It's over. It's over.
Yes.
Cut the cord and keep pushing.
Yes.
So, but like you really, it's like, when do you listen to yourself? You need to always listen to yourself. Those feelings that you have, they don't exist for no reason, and you're not crazy because those feelings, like they don't just pop up just because, oh yeah, hey, this is fun. This sounds fun.
Right.
Like, no. God is putting these feelings and thoughts inside of you for a reason. And when do you listen to them? Immediately. Listen to them, analyze, understand, and like Tania said, go through that best. Okay, as I'm making this decision, I'm listening to myself, and I have a decision to make. Go through that best.
I love that acronym.
And what makes me feel even better is that I can check off B, E, S, and T.
Yeah.
That I made today, although again, it wasn't
painful.
Yeah,
it was painful.
I feel good about it now because I can check off every letter and listen to
save us so much time if we listen the first time. But something else Tania said, emotions are not logical. So that intuition is not logical either, because we don't have the intuition and then have all the reasons all the time why we should, right? There's a doubt. There's like, but that intuition is like, in spite of that thought process you got laid out, in spite of all that, I am a little more powerful than, your thought process, what you can think of. So trust me instead.
Yes, trust me
instead. That's the challenge. Yeah, trust me instead. I am more powerful than that little logic, what you can think of, right? So that's why it doesn't align with your logic, because you can't think as high as I can. But I can make you feel it very simply. I couldn't explain it to you because you can't think on my level, but you can feel everything I put in you. So just feel it and know this is what you should do. And I love that acronym. I'm going to take that acronym, Tania. I'm going to be taking that acronym because it would help me make decisions so much easier.
And I do say emotions. Oh, sorry, I don't want to interrupt. I was going to say emotions with a level of discernment becomes like a stoplight. With that level of discernment, you'll get the go. I think you need to pause and stop. And I think the more you start to tap into that, your cycles of decision making starts to get better. So it's like it's a muscle to build as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
If I may just join in to say, I agree with everything that everyone has shared. I think it's so important that we start becoming friends with our bodies, meaning everything that's happening and showing up on our bodies is for a reason. Why is this rash here again? Why am I losing hair again? You know, it shows up in the body. So how do you know? Look at your body.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
listen to your body.
Listen to it. And what one exercise you can do, just for the fun of it, say you're trying to decide, okay, should I leave this business partner? Just ask yourself, should I leave this business partner? And if you say yes, just tap into how does it feel right away? And if you say no, you're going to feel it, but it's for us to start getting fully aligned with the body, and whether it's through yoga or whatever you practice, but the answers are there. And it's also, I've come to learn to hear his voice and ask him for his voice. So when I wake up, I go, okay, God, what would you like me to do today? But listen immediately to the first thing that comes. And okay, God, what would you like me to do today? Or whenever.
Yep.
He'll tell you right away. But as I don't know who said it, but it's a muscle that you have to just start practicing. The other thing I started doing was to observe my life from a bird's eye view. Ooh. So it's my life, but now I'm kind of looking at myself and looking at what's happening. And when you start doing that, you're able to kind of detach from the subjective part of the situation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Just like how you say, well, if a friend asks you the same question, what would you tell that friend?
Yeah.
Become your friend. You are your friend.
Yeah.
Right? Because as we know, if somebody asks us that question, you'd be like, oh, do that, do this, do that.
Right. You have all the solutions, all the ideas.
All the answers.
Then do it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
No, yes.
I promise I'm not getting us off track. But when you said that, it just reminded me this is totally non-business related, and I'm being probably too much information here. I was dating a guy that just was wrong for me, just wrong. Not a bad person, wrong. And I had a stomach ache all the time. All the time. There was like this I remember telling people, I just must be sensitive to foods. There just must be an issue. Finally broke up with him. A year after I broke up with him, a friend had told me, you have not complained of a stomach ache in over a year. My body was telling me this no longer serves me. So I cannot, Christine, I think you just hit the nail on the head. You've got to listen to your body.
Yes.
Yeah. Your body tells you.
Body is super intelligent. When I say super is not big enough. It is super intelligent.
Yeah. I was having this situation that I said I had to handle today in July. For one, it started, beginning of the year, and I went back and forth. And summertime came, and summertime came, and that's when we had to be around each other more and do more things together. And don't get me wrong, love this person. That's, got us back to the end. I started to have chest pain. I don't have no chest pain. I try to eat good. I try to work out. I try to do whatever, you know what I mean? I started to have chest pains, and I noticed that it would happen every time we needed to work on a project together or something. When I finally made the decision that I made, I'm fine. So listen, that stomach stuff, And I try to brush it off like this ain't
Right,
real,
it's not related. That's that can't be related.
it's real. Your body knows, when you're stressing, your body gonna be like, hey, listen, this ain't for me.
Right.
Get me out of here.
So true.
And that's why, back to acronyms, the first phase to the journey to inner peace is the shedding.
Yes.
What do you need to shed so that you can receive what is divinely yours?
Yep.
Yeah. To piggyback on that, in my role, I specifically help women who want to quit their jobs and start a business. I tell them you're going to need a 3-month detox when you quit your job, because it is almost this Pandora's box of the job is the first big thing you've let go that no longer serves you. And what happens is you start to uncover all the other things that no longer serve you. So you are stepping into your own, and you are constantly letting stuff go along the way. And I think people are shocked by that. But I find on average, it's 3 months before people begin to feel some semblance of stability again.
Yeah.
I love that point.
You have to relearn who you are. What I went through is realizing that Christine in corporate America and Christine as an entrepreneur, she's a totally different person. And Bianca, you said it earlier, you had to learn your power and your magic. I will not forget that from this conversation.
Yes, me either.
So I didn't realize my power. I didn't realize the magic that God has placed inside of me until as you said, that 3 to 6 months, it's going on 2 years now. And I'm reintroducing myself to myself.
Yep.
Hi, Christine. Hi.
Yeah.
Hey, I like you. Where have you been?
Right, that part.
So
Where you been, girl? You've been busy wearing all those masks, wearing all those hats, doing everything for everybody else. And now yourself is saying, oh, you're here with me now.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we can talk.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So ladies, if our listeners take one step this week to begin reimagining their own potential, what would you recommend? What would be one step you would recommend for them to take?
Show up for yourself the way you show up for others.
Love that.
I was going to say, know what's on the other side of your dreams. So many times people so desperately want to leave their situation that they focus on what they're giving up and they don't focus on what they're running to. Before you embark on a journey, know where you're going. For instance, I'm in Georgia. What I need to go to Florida is a car, a train, or a plane. But if I'm going to Italy and I'm taking a car and a train, I'm obviously not going to get there. So define what this looks like. A question I always ask people, it's 3 years from today, you're living your best life. What are you telling that person? And that sometimes gives you some answers.
I love that. I would say what's going to get you through a lot of the good, the bad, the in between is just understanding your magic. Understanding your magic, not just knowing that you're magical, because we can all know that we're magical, and sometimes we don't use our magic properly.
Yes.
But understanding your exact magic powers and how to use them.
I love that. I love that. Ladies, this has been exceptional. I have really enjoyed this roundtable. You guys dropped some very valuable gems to our entrepreneurs in their first 5 years, some juicy and impactful stuff. So thank you for being here with us today. So again, this is the Empower Her Business podcast, formerly known as Women of Color Business Podcast. We're ending a great roundtable series. You will find the contact information for each of these wonderful guests in the show notes, so you can keep up with them, connect with them on social media and follow up and see how they're growing and glowing up. Thank you so much for being here today, ladies.
Thank you. Yay.
This episode is sponsored by Empower Her Bookkeeping and Advisory. Our boutique firm is for women founders who are tired of running businesses that feel chaotic and drain their passion. So if your business systems are pinching you like a shoe that no longer fits, please contact us today and book your private complimentary discovery call. Visit empowerherbookkeeping.com and let the relief begin. You've been listening to the Empower Her Business podcast. And before you go, I want to thank you for being here. If this episode supported you, please pay it forward. You can do that by hitting the follow button, rating us 5 stars, leaving a comment, and sharing us with others. This is how we ensure the podcast reaches more sisters in business. Until next time, I wish you the very best of joy, health, and wealth. Be well.